calls my views utopian, but we have anarchy between countries right now. Is that utopian? If it is, then we should have world government. If Herb were consistent with his views, he would embrace world government. I'd love to hear what he has to say about this instead of telling us about his life and his accomplishments, which are great, but are not really relevant to this question. Herb misunderstands sociobiology. Sociobiology is not the theory that says that whatever lasts is good or right or anything like that. It rather says that the reason we are the way we are now is because of what it took to survive a million years ago. And a million years ago, we lived in little groups of 25 or 50, and we had a head man, which is why not only is it hard to sell anarcho-capitalism, it's even hard to sell libertarianism, because people are not hardwired to accept it. Herb misconstrues sociobiology into thinking that an institution that lasts for a long time must be good. Well, murder is an institution that's been lasted for years. Rape is an institution that's lasted for years. Don't tell me that murder and rape are good. Don't tell me that it's utopian to say that murder and rape are bad. Murder and rape are bad, and that's not utopian. That's libertarian. Yes, I was involved in this Courtney Index of Economic Freedom. The freer countries are, the more prosperous they are. And that's the exact message that I'm trying to convince Herb of and the rest of you of right now. The idea here is that when you have things in the private marketplace, you have competition, you have winners and losers. But the reason that wristwatches are pretty good and cough drops are pretty good is because when somebody produces a cough drop or a wristwatch or a pizza that's not good, people don't aren't their customers. They don't patronize them. They lose money. They have to go by the wayside and make room for other entrepreneurs who can provide a better service. Now, Herb says that the difference between us is that he believes that they're evil people, and I don't.
Can we quote you on that?
But that's crazy. I believe that they're evil people, Herb among them. Again, I don't think that Herb is personally evil, but I think that his arguments are evil because he is supporting the use of force against innocent people. He's worried about murders and rapes. According to the statistics, in the last century, what's the figure? 169 million people were killed by their governments, by the very institution that Herb is favoring. And this does not include wars between governments, just governments killing their own people. Like in the case, we'll have a question period later. And this doesn't count road deaths, highway deaths, which are in Canada about 3,000, 3,500 a year, in the U.S. about 10 times that amount. Milton Friedman is a road socialist. He believes that government should provide highways. I believe that we should have competing highways so that we'll get more safety. Milton Friedman and Herb Grubel are protection socialists. They believe that the best way to protect people against evil people, that Herb and I both agree that there are such, is by having a monopoly government and letting them settle for it. Now, one of the last points that I made when Paul viciously stopped me was, where are you safer, in the Edmonton Mall or in New Orleans Audubon Park? Well, in the Edmonton Mall, they've got, if there was a rape or murder there, people wouldn't go. In Disney World, if there's a murder or a rape, people don't go there. They've got cameras, they've got ducks and geese packing heat if they stop you. Whereas if you walk out on the street, or you walk into a public park, which is policed by Herb's favorite institution, the goddamn government, you take your life in your hand. Why? Because if there's a murder and a rape in a private property, the private property owner loses. If there's a rape or a murder in a public facility, who loses? The mayor, the governor? Don't be silly. See, Herb has got the principle right. He knows that we should privatize farms. He knows that we should privatize restaurants. He knows that we should privatize supermarkets for these very reasons. The reason we have restaurants and supermarkets and places like that that are pretty good is because of competition, because of economic freedom. Why doesn't he apply it to protection also? Because he's a goddamn socialist, this guy. Because on this ground, he's a socialist. He's a pinko. He's a commie. On this area, now, obviously, I've worked with Herb for many years. He's no socialist on most issues, which is a crying shame, because he's so close. He's so close to understanding free enterprise, but he doesn't apply it holus bolus. He doesn't apply it all throughout. He limits it to everything, pretty much. I'm not sure about healthcare, or I don't know about other issues, but he certainly doesn't include protection. But why is protection different than anything else? Why won't competition and private property rights, which Herb and others as of his ilk support, why can't it apply to this as well? What's so unique about this? There's nothing so unique about that. That's not utopian. That's not a contortion. That's just taking the principles of Adam Smith and the principles that Milton Friedman says he adheres to, which he doesn't fully, and applying it to the hitherto areas that these people refuse to apply it to. Why aren't they consistent? Why don't they go the whole way? Herb says, well, empirical evidence justifies things. Empirical evidence doesn't justify anything. There is such a distinction in economics called normative versus positive, and never the twain shall meet. Just because empirical evidence says something doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. You need ethical premises in your argument. You just can't do it without them. Herb is very good on things like the minimum wage and free trade. Herb has got the principles. You 13 evil people have got the principles. What's keeping you from the one true faith, what's keeping you from justice, is the inability to apply these principles without exception.
Walter, you really wonderful for this world. I'm so glad you're around. Who would we laugh about? You know, you go at hominem with slight withdrawals after. You know, I mean, enjoy yourself. And I don't even know where to start. You compare murder as you say murder is an institution and rape is an institution. And then you compare these so-called institutions with the church, the police, national security force. Well, how far can you get with it in the real world? Other than your beautifully logical structure of a utopia. Give me a break. You always push things to the extreme. Just because I believe in freedom of the individuals constrained by the need to deal with evil and to take advantage of certain characteristics of social relationships. You say, you're a fool. You are a socialist because the logical extension of what you say is world government. Bullshit. Let it be a logical extension on the basis of your assumptions, the assumptions you make, not on my assumptions. It's not illogical. There are other factors. You have only one factor. Freedom. Damn it, I think there are lots and lots of other factors which I don't have the time to elaborate, but it's quite clear that I've hinted at the existence of these other nasty things in the world that you say can best be dealt with by the individual without cooperation at a level other than between the family and a few of us who get together and cooperate.
Let me interrupt you. You have to stand up, otherwise you're not going to talk. Are you finished?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did anybody have trouble hearing me?
No. Tape it.
No.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay.